The cup that cheers up is the age-old adage that describes coffee. The journey of coffee from green beans on the plants grown in remote hilly areas to the liquid in a cup stimulating millions of people across the world involves several steps, both in terms of product transformation and logistics. Coffee cultivation in India is mainly confined to the southern states, namely Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and a small amount of coffee is grown in northeastern region like Meghalaya, Manipura, Nagaland, Sikkim, and Tripura. Arabica, Coffea arabica, and Robusta, Coffea canephora, are two commercially cultivated species of coffee. At present, out of the total coffee produced in India, 37% is Arabica and 63% is Robusta. Coffee requires specific climatic conditions for cultivation. While Robusta can be grown at an elevation of 2,600 to 3,000 feet above mean sea level, Arabica grows well at higher elevations and at temperature range of 10 degrees to 30 degrees Celsius. Summer showers are important for flowering in coffee. After the blossom, it requires rain within 45 to 65 days for the normal fruit and seed development. The temperature, humidity, rainfall, shade, and soil conditions and elevations are some of the important factors which influence growth and productivity of the coffee plant. According to a legend, a Muslim pilgrim, Baba Budan, introduced Arabica coffee into India around 1600 AD. He is reported to have brought 7 seeds from Yemen and raised seedlings on his hermitage on the hills near Chikmagalur. Gradually, coffee seedlings came to be planted in Coorg.
India is one of the few countries, I can almost say it is the only country out of the 50 major countries that produces coffee entirely under natural shade. This has a tremendous importance as far as the ecological balance of this very sensitive Western Ghats is concerned. The Western Ghats are considered one of the hot spots in the World Environmental Congress that was held in Rio de Janeiro. It had identified Western Ghats as one of the hot spots of the ecologically important areas, second one in India being the foothills of the Himalayas. So coffee growers and all other plantation owners, this entire area is of privately owned lands, and we have done a grand job in keeping the ecological balance of these countries. All the birds, the flora and the fauna which exist here, and also the waters that fill the beautiful rivers flowing out of the coffee lands of Karnataka and Kerala and Tamil Nadu are due to the plantations that are maintained so beautifully by the coffee growers and the other plantation owners.
Coffee plants are susceptible to pests and diseases. Leaf rust is a major disease of coffee, causing economically significant crop losses. White stem borer is the main pest of Arabica, and short hole borer is the main pest of Robusta, while coffee berry borer affects both these varieties. Mysore Coffee Experiment Station was established at Balehonnur in Chikmagalur district during 1925 in order to evolve disease-resistant coffee varieties and to evolve a package of practices for crop husbandry. Coffee Board took over the station in 1946 and named it Central Coffee Research Institute and made it the research headquarters for coffee in India. Coffee Board established a large extension network to spread research results to growers. Karnataka is the largest producer of coffee in India. Out of the total coffee growing area in the country, 57.8% is in Karnataka, while Kerala contributes 24.3%, Tamil Nadu contributes 8.8%. Another 9% of the coffee area is located in non-traditional areas like Northeast and Eastern Ghats of Andhra Pradesh. Coffee production is small grower dominant. Out of the total estates, 68.3% belong to less than 10 hectares category. However, only 65.2% of the area is under this category. The large holdings, which constitute 1.7% in number and 34.8% in area, are contributing 40% to the total production. Ripened coffee berries are harvested between November and February, while the Robusta harvest starts in the month of December. Arabica starts earlier. There are two methods of processing to remove coffee beans from the coffee berries: dry processing and wet processing. Under the dry processing, coffee berries are sun-dried in drying yards and later hulled to release the beans. Coffee processed in this way is called cherry coffee. Wet processing. Coffee berries are sent through a pulper to remove the skin and pulp, and later they are washed clean. These washed beans are sun-dried before packing. Coffee processed this way is called washed coffee or parchment or plantation, and this fetches better price in the market. Curing works play an important role in final processing of the coffee for the market. Dry processed coffee will be hulled, dried to glass hardness and graded into different sizes before packing. Similarly, wet processed coffee will also be cured for the removal of the thin parchment layer over the washed beans, dry it to glass hardness and grade it. Coffee consumption is also concentrated in southern India. It was stagnant at about 55,000 metric tons till 1998, and it gradually increased to around 64,000 metric tons by 2001 and to 73,000 metric tons in early 2003. Coffee marketing system witnessed several changes during the past decade. It was a 100% pooled marketing system until 1993. Under this system, Coffee Board was acting as a custodian of coffee produced in India and used to market coffee both in internal market and international market on behalf of the growers. Growers were pooling their coffee with the collecting depots, coffee curing works, and coffee was sold through separate auctions for internal market and export traders. Traders used to participate in the auction, and growers were paid returns based on the price realized after deducting the marketing expenses. From 1993, coffee marketing system was liberalized, and at present it is an open marketing system in which growers sell coffee in the internal market and also export. From growers, coffee reaches the coffee dealers and then it reaches the roasters. Coffee roasters are coffee traders who sell not only raw seeds but also coffee powder. Depending on the requirement of the customer, appropriate proportion of chicory is blended with roasted and ground coffee. The impact of market liberalization.
I think they have a massive impact in the sense that pretty much from a very tightly controlled system, it's now a system which is almost anarchic. So growers in that sense are totally at the mercy of the market and at the mercy of the buyer. See, I don't think when liberalization first came in 94 and 95, I think the idea was that people would go to the auction system, which is a transparent price mechanism system. But very little has gone into the auction system, and the trade has gone to farm gate buying. Studies have shown that farm gate sales, at the end of the day, your quality suffers, and the grower will be impoverished with any agricultural commodity. Because with farm gate sales, there's no value addition, there's no proper monitoring of quality.
Impact on producers. Producers have a choice to select the agency to sell, receive the returns immediately, reward for estate-specific specialty coffees. Growers are at the mercy of the traders or brokers. Violent fluctuations reduced growers' returns. Banks are hesitant to finance due to volatility of price. Growers had to reduce labor and fertilizer application, which has a negative impact on the economy of the coffee growing regions.
One of the main problems facing the Indian coffee grower is that there doesn't seem to be coordination between the different authorities that control the product in India. For example, the Coffee Board of India come under the Commerce Ministry, but we also have the Finance Ministry to be involved, and we also have the state governments to be involved, and therefore we are not able to have one policy as far as coffee is concerned. This leads to lot of ambiguity amongst the taxing authorities as well as the commercial tax department and other departments that are to look after the affairs of the coffee industry. We request the governments as well as the authorities concerned to come to one conclusion, so that there is no ambiguity in the coffee industry's marketing and also in the exports. We should be given money for exports as export packing credit, which is available to all the others. Coffee industry was the only industry that was riddled with the export duty. Now from 1976 to 1981, over 600 crores of rupees were taken from the coffee growers as export duty, while all other Indian exporters were getting export incentives. Therefore, this industry, if it has to survive in future, should have a policy that is going to help the industry and the large number of labor and the growers involved in this.
After the liberalization, coffee marketing has witnessed a great deal of differentiation in presenting coffee to the customer. Growers who also took up marketing introduced value-added coffee in the form of iced coffee, espresso coffee, takeaway liquid coffee, etc.
Every coffee roaster in the country should have a cup taste laboratory. This is to evaluate the cup parameters of coffee. Whenever we source the coffee, we are not sure whether all the cup parameters are well maintained. The quality parameters, they vary from source to source, season to season, origin to origin. So it is necessary that in a cup taste laboratory, he is able to evaluate the cup parameters such as acidity, flavor, aroma, and various other parameters. Only then he will be able to have a good blend developed at his laboratory, which will be recommended for his production. Until and unless he goes through this exercise, he may not be sure of what is the produce which will be offered to his customers. Once he is sure of his quality, market penetration becomes easier, or building up of a brand image is also easier. For this, one should have very strong principles, and he should go with good business ethics. Until and unless he is able to offer a good quality product into the market, he may not be able to sustain in the long run.
As long as coffee was sold under the pooling system, growers were not facing the problems of marketing. They never had to take any decisions about when to sell, where to sell, how to sell, and how much to sell. But under the open system, growers are confronted with these problems, and all these marketing decisions have a marked influence on their returns. In order to address these challenges, several initiatives emerged. Karnataka Coffee Brokers Limited, along with Forbes, Evert and Fix Private Limited, Carrot Moran and Company Private Limited, and J. Thomas and Company Private Limited, conduct auctions under the name of Indian Coffee Trade Association every Thursday in Bangalore, in which the three auctioneers put up coffee for sale on behalf of the growers.
The price fixation at the auctions or the minimum price laid down by the respective auctioneers is linked to the international coffee market. In the case of Robustas, the London Coffee Exchange, and in the case of Arabicas, the New York C market. So at the end of close on the Wednesday evening, the auctioneers, like I'm sure all other participants of the auctions, will have the information of the closing prices, on which basis they will fix the selling price for the different grades of Arabicas and Robustas. Each one of them have their formula. There is a formula whereby we arrive at the auction equivalent, which is the basis on which the minimum price is demanded by the auctioneer. Thereafter, it depends on the laws of supply and demand. If some buyer is short of coffee, he wants coffee for an urgent shipment, he will be willing to pay higher prices. The auction mechanism takes care of these factors.
Similarly, coffee growers' cooperatives became active. Cooperative is able to sell coffee through auctions. Some of the women who take active part in estate management came together to start Women Coffee Promotion Council to promote coffee.
In 1993, coffee came under free market. Then the growers started facing the situation. When they wanted to sell their product, they came to know the reality. Even though we have 1 billion population, still we were not able to sell our just 3 lakhs tons of coffee. We are so much dependent on export, and international coffee prices keep slumping. So when all this started happening, we growers thought we should do something, and we started with this association. And our main object is to demonstrate coffee, how to make coffee, and also make people to know about coffee. Coffee is a natural drink, and our association say, drink coffee and save nature. This is our main object. Especially in non-traditional coffee drinking areas, where they do not know about cold coffee. In hot places, warm places, they don't have to drink hot coffee. They can go very well for cold coffees, which is good for children also, to relieve the stress, and also good for cold and asthmatic and headaches, and especially in this generation who are all with stress, the coffee relieves the stress. This is what we want to spread. And we have conducted about a lot of demonstrations in the non-traditional areas. There is a very good response from the especially warm areas, people going for cold coffee, and they ask how to make it, which is really good, saying that even all the ingredients used in coffee is all natural, which is sugar, milk, and of course coffee has come from nature. This is how we are trying to promote coffee.
Volatility of agricultural price is not a new phenomenon. However, coffee growers were not exposed to this. This new system growers have to make marketing decisions. For want of exposure, growers are not in a position to handle this crop with great dependence on external markets. The only solution is to value add and produce coffee which has a great demand. Another important aspect is strengthening internal consumption base. Despite efforts and vast population base, internal consumption is low. By strengthening this base, dependence on external market comes down. Growers should come together and start taking up activities for value addition and to increase internal consumption.